All right, hello, welcome back to Unqualified Analysis, another off-season edition of Unqualified Analysis. I am in the hoodie today. Obviously, we're feeling comfy. We're feeling real comfy right now, and I'll tell you what, not a whole lot of stuff going on. I mean, there's some big-time games in the Final Four. Duke lost, which is wild, a little bit funny, but definitely wild for sure. I thought that they were going to walk to a national title, but lo and behold, Houston in the national title game against Florida. And we'll see how it goes tonight as I'm recording this on Monday, of course. Outside of that, though, we're going to talk about some NFL offseason stuff. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I only really wrote down one headline. It's life is busy at the moment. Very busy. And when I get home, my brain shuts off. So yeah, I apologize for that. That's all to say. We're gonna be yapping a little bit today, just a little bit of yapping today. But I have a feeling we're gonna turn that into something fun. You know, we're gonna see as we go along. But I have a feeling it's gonna turn out well. Any hoozles? You can follow me on all the socials at CalebVUA. Shoot me a DM, or just go ahead, hit the email unqualifiedanalysis@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as humanly possible. Gonna be honest, have not checked the email in quite some time, but such is life. Such is life, my friends. I think with that said, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. That if you have, appreciate you. We love you the most, of course. But outside of that, let's crack right into this bad boy. I'm gonna get a nice swig of this here Gatorade. We're gonna start the show. We're gonna start the show, my friends. Once I put this over to the side. All right, so. First and foremost, might as well start with the only headline that I had written down here. The Cardinals paid Trey McBride the most any tight end has ever been paid in NFL history. That is 4 years, $76 million. Quick math if you're doing this at home, $19 million a year. $44 million of that 76 is guaranteed, though. So 44 guaranteed, 32 that's not. Over half the deal. That's pretty good for Trey McBride. That's pretty good. I'm assuming that a lot of that is structured in a 2-year fashion. The AAV obviously makes him the highest paid tight end in the league by about $2 million a year, I want to say. I think the next closest one now is Travis Kelce, who was the previous highest paid. Obviously, he was making $17 million or is making $17 million. And if I'm the Chiefs, I don't know if I necessarily renegotiate that because I don't know if Travis Kelce's worth $17 million at this point in his career. I don't want to disrespect the guy. Obviously, it sounds pretty disrespectful coming out of my mouth, but at this point, Travis Kelce's on a year-to-year basis. I mean, he's probably playing 1, maybe 2 more seasons, and then he's riding off into the sunset. So, I mean, listen, guys. I'm not paying Travis Kelce all that money, but good for Trey McBride. He was a hell of a playmaker last year. He's been a hell of a playmaker the last couple of seasons. Even with inconsistent quarterback play from Kyler Murray, Trey McBride always shines over there with the Arizona Cardinals. A little bit of pressure on the coaching staff and GM Monty Ossenfort and obviously almost said Rich Gannon there. Definitely not Rich Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, former Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator, as opposed to the former quarterback of, I forget, was he? Is he a Raider? A Raider? Los Angeles Raider, I believe at that point, or Oakland? I don't really know. Either way. Definitely Jonathan Gannon, not Rich. Definitely not. Well, Jonathan Gannon is Rich, but not Rich Gannon. Not Rich Gannon. That's all I'm saying there. A lot of pressure on that coaching staff this year, though. They're going to have to nail this draft, and they better hope that they didn't invest in a lemon in Kyler Murray. That's probably the biggest one. And maybe lemon is probably a little bit strong. But Kyler Murray needs to be better. I mean, he's the number 1 overall pick, for God's sake, at one point. He's got to be better than he has been. I don't know what the disconnect is there. I don't know if it's offensive scheme, offensive coordinator, or whether it's just a problem with Kyler Murray personally. He's going to have to produce in a big way. That is pretty much a constant here going forward for the Arizona Cardinals. If he doesn't produce, I mean, nothing is going to happen there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not gonna explode if Kyler Murray doesn't produce. Trey McBride's going to be consistent no matter what, but at the same time, you're not hitting 40, 50-yard plays with Trey McBride like you could with Marvin Harrison Jr. You got to see, I mean, it's put up or shut up for Kyler Murray this year. It's kind of put up or shut up for Jonathan Gannon, I would say. It maybe put up or shut up is a little bit over the top with it, but you got to at least be pushing for a playoff spot this year. They were getting close last year, but you got to be pushing for a playoff spot this year and competing in a big way, especially with the 49ers at this point. I mean, they're definitely in a roster restructure right now. They're probably going to inject a lot of youth with the upcoming draft class. Mostly just shed salary cap this offseason. I mean, it's just like Nick Bosa, Christian McCaffrey, and Brandon Ayuk, and that's the only ones left. Everyone else is gone, it feels like, at this point. I guess Fred Warner is still there too, but whatever. It's quite a time to be in the NFC West here. I mean, the Rams are up there. Seahawks, I'm not a huge believer in them. Fairly weak division, all things considered, is what I'm getting at here. Cardinals have got to produce this year. Big money for Trey McBride, though, so we'll leave it at that. That's how I got on that whole tangent. Outside of that, that was the only headline I had written down, so a nice little 5-minute podcast. I will see you all next week. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to find a way to fill the rest of this time here, I assure you of that. So one thing off the top of my head, I know this pretty much just came down the pipe. Terron Armstead is confirmed to have retired. The Dolphins made that official over the weekend, I believe. I think it was Sunday where the news actually came down. Maybe today, Monday, it became official. Either way, this is hot off the presses that Terron Armstead is retiring. This was pretty much expected. You don't have to be a master reader of salary cap to see, okay, Terron Armstead's salary was reduced to the league minimum, essentially, for this upcoming year. Mike McDaniel pretty much outright said we're moving forward as if he's not going to be back next year. So we kind of speculated about this before. I don't know why it took Terron Armstead this long to make it official necessarily. I guess maybe it is a tough decision. He's been in the league for 12 years and was a very good player for a lot of those years. A lot of injuries, but I mean, when he was healthy, one of the best left tackles in the entire league. He was an absolute stud. Got paid by the Miami Dolphins too, let's not forget, and the New Orleans Saints. Dude got paid a whole lot of money in his career, so kudos to Terron Armstead, and happy trails in retirement. Probably getting out at a good time there with the Miami Dolphins. I would imagine injuries probably played a factor, as they played a factor throughout his entire career. But, hey, congratulations to Terron Armstead on a hell of a career. Outside of that, what's going on, man? I mean, the Aaron Rodgers, he is still undecided about a team. That's something. I mean, it's really nothing. I wish that he would decide. I mean, I don't really understand what the holdup is here at this point. But that's good times. That's good times. So Pat McAfee is going to be having this big night out, I believe it's called. I don't know. They're going to be in Pittsburgh for like a Wednesday night show. It's a big thing that they're promoting at this point. It feels like that would be an ideal situation for Aaron Rodgers to come in and announce that he's going to be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Would make a whole lot of sense there for sure. So that's, I mean, it'd be very Aaron Rodgers of him to just not even show up, obviously. Make everyone think that that's what he's going to do and then just not show up. He likes to keep people guessing on what he's doing. He's wonderful in that way. We all love Aaron Rodgers here for sure. But I don't know. It also feels plausible that he could just draw this thing out until right up until the draft and then sign with the Steelers or something like that. This is just Aaron Rodgers 101. But just saying, on the Pat McAfee show with his favorite media personality, because he can just go on there and say whatever he wants, would be, I guess, an ideal spot for him to go in and make a big splash if he wanted to. Just something to keep in mind. There. So I guess I'm watching that. I don't really care at all because the Vikings still haven't necessarily ruled him out. I guess that's out of principle at this point. I mean, they made it pretty clear they're moving forward with J.J. McCarthy as the starting quarterback, which I'm pretty excited about. I think as a leader, I love him much more than Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I keep hearing these things about Shailene Woodley and her experience with Aaron Rodgers. That sounds like every franchise's experience over the last several years with Aaron Rodgers since I think he did that first ayahuasca thing and Aaron Rodgers has never really been a well-liked individual necessarily. I think people love him because he plays really, really good football. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, maybe the best thrower of the football of all time. But he's never necessarily been the guy that everyone loves to be around, necessarily. I think he probably got easier to be around once he did the ayahuasca. That being said, I don't think it necessarily made him a better guy to be around, like long term. I don't know, just some. I just really don't like Aaron Rodgers. Probably the best option for the Steelers. Not probably the best option for the Steelers at this point. We'll see. We'll see. I've already devoted entirely too much airtime to Aaron Rodgers. I'm just trying to think about, we're 10 minutes into this thing. I don't really know how I'm going to fill more time in addition to this. I guess, outside of what's already happening, is there really anything that's popping off in the NFL at this point? I can kind of, scroll through and see. I just don't really know that a whole lot has happened here over the last, week or so. We're gearing up for the draft. There is that. I kind of wanted to do a designated thing about the draft, though, so I'm not just going to shoehorn it in here for my own self-aggrandizement and easy excuse to fill up an extra like 30 minutes or so. But let's take a look here. Let's take a look. Really, there is nothing going on in the NFL right now. It's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous, and it's tearing me apart. Oh, I guess one thing to hit on here, as I'm scrolling through Ian Rappaport's timeline, Trayvon Walker, the Jaguars defensive end, the Jaguars got his 5th-year option. Sure, why not? I guess that gives you some flexibility. Learn from the Daniel Jones situation. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, and then they had to pay him a whole lot of money and ship him out, really just cut him way before the deal was even done. Just way before the deal was towards the end of it. Hey, that you're avoiding that situation. Maybe Trayvon Walker has a breakout year this year, and then you go in the next season, you just say, prove it one more time. Maybe we can franchise you if we don't come to terms after this year, and then get another prove it year after that. I guess I can see. I suppose I can see it as I've talked it out loud here. I don't know though, man. I feel like if he was gonna explode, he would do it already. He hasn't been put in the best situation over the last several seasons with whoever was the defensive coordinator. Any of those seasons has not necessarily been great. Has shown flashes at points though, so I guess that's why you pick up the 5th-year option. I don't know. They probably know things that I don't. Would make a lot of sense, them being in the building and me not. But I don't know if I would have picked up this 5th-year option. I don't know if he's been anywhere worth 14.7, whatever it is they're going to pay him. So he's getting every single cent of that number 1 overall contract. So hey, shout out to you, Trayvon Walker. That's big time stuff right there. That's actually really big time stuff. Outside of that, Geno Smith signed an extension, gives him, like $80-some million over 2 years. So I'm assuming that's salary cap wizardry, but at the same time, hey, you get a little pay bump there, so good on Geno Smith. Raiders are reaffirming their commitment to the guy, which you love to see. Going from Seattle to Las Vegas, not terrible, I suppose. Seattle's a great city, too, so you think about Geno Smith's career arc. I'm gonna delineate here for just a second. You think about Geno Smith's career arc a little bit here. He starts in New York, bounces around a bit. When you're living the journeyman life, it's not good. No matter what, it's really not good. But has not really a stable start. As far as the living situation goes, a stable start because he was a 2nd-round pick and you can't just cut a 2nd-round pick outright. I guess he lasted 2 seasons there, so there's that. But you start off in New York, New Jersey, wherever he lived. Maybe he lived in Hoboken. I don't really know. Shout out to New York, I suppose. But you bounce around from there. You stay in New York, actually, for a little bit, backing up Eli Manning. Who was the erstwhile head coach that was there? Brian McAdoo. Brian McAdoo pulled Eli Manning and put in Geno Smith, and the town just got so angry that even though Brian McAdoo, or Ben McAdoo, sorry, I called him Brian, his name's Ben, even though Ben McAdoo was probably right to pull Eli Manning because he was god-awful, They still started him another 2 years, I believe, after that. So that's fun. That is fun. Wow, good times. Good times that we're living in right now. No other. All right. Never mind on that one. But back to what I was saying. So yeah, Geno Smith, not a bad slate of cities that he's lived in throughout the course of his career. I mean, I guess at the mid-30s age, maybe Las Vegas doesn't appeal to you as much, but there is a suburb life in Las Vegas that seems to be all right, if nothing else. I mean, the city is probably slowly melting due to global warming and climate change and all that good stuff. I'm sure that the downpours are torrential and the heat is just off the damn charts. But, while he's there, maybe he doesn't live there for the rest of his life, but while he's there, why not have yourself a good time? It does get a little cold in the winter. It does get cold in the desert, contrary to popular belief. Go to Utah in the winter and tell me how you feel. Even southern Utah. Go to Zion in the winter and you tell me how you feel. I can imagine it's probably not going to be fantastic in a way that you would not expect. So, either way though, son, if you like golf, it's a great place to golf because it almost never rains. I mean, when it does, you want to avoid going outside, I would say, just based on historical trends that I've seen in the desert, in my times in the desert. But I mean, all the days where it's sunny, hey, could be worse, man. Outside of that, where are we going? Where are we going? I mean, a lot of top 30 visits here with these teams, with draft prospects. That's really the stuff that's going on. So I probably should have, prepared a little bit more with draft stuff today. Wasn't what happened. So yeah, we're just gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep moving. I gotta probably devise a game or something next week. Oh my goodness. All right. My goodness. Oh, there's a... Oh, no. I thought his name was Schweinsteiger, like the football player in Germany. No, there's a UCLA linebacker named Carson Schlesinger? Schlesinger. Either way, good Irish boy there. He is on a top 30 visit with the Ravens as of 9 hours ago. So there's that. That's basically all that is on the timeline right now. It's draft speculation. I probably should have milked the draft for more than what I've milked it for, but it is what it is. I mean, is this going to be an all-time short show? Do I even put this out if this is going to be what the show is? I mean, we're gonna find out here as I scroll through this timeline. Shedeur Sanders pro day. I mean, mixed reviews. I feel like the kid has done himself no favors as far as the the sound bites that he's put out, the clips that he's put out. I mean, good branding in college with Deion Sanders. Obviously, he's Deion's son. So, did you guys know that Shedeur Sanders is Deion Sanders' son? I would have never guessed. But I feel like he's really just done himself no favors with just being brash and confident, which, I mean, is not in and of itself not necessarily a bad thing. I just feel like when it's time to comport yourself like a leader and not be a shithead, he's done a really bad job at the not being a shithead part. Honestly, I'd love to say that he's going to learn to not do that one day, but I can't with any degree of certainty, not knowing where he's going to go. Because if he goes to the Browns, if he goes to the Giants, really any of the teams at the top that are probably going to pick him, it's probably not going to work out too great, and it's going to be pretty ugly on the way out if I know anything about Shedeur Sanders, and Deion Sanders for that matter. I mean, if it's going badly, I would assume Deion is going to inject himself into the situation in some way, shape, or form. Just a little feeling that I have. I know Deion just got paid by Colorado. That's another headline, by the way. 5 years, $54 million with Colorado. He got paid a whole lot of money. And by the way, we'll get to that here in just a second, but that's why he didn't go to the Cowboys. Not the contract extension itself, but I think you guys are gonna know where I'm gonna go with this. But we'll put a pin in that for right now. Just bookmark that for later. We'll get to that. For right now, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, and I don't think the pro day was that great. Also, caveat, pro days do not matter, I mean, at all. His footwork, I didn't really pay attention to it that much. I guess the main thing that came out of this was Andre Cisco saying, you better stop patting that ball. We're going to jump on that thing early. And then people showed in clips that quarterbacks have patted the ball before and gotten away with it. worth mentioning that they just showed a highlight reel of like the 10 strongest arms in the NFL pretty much, which Shedeur Sanders will not be. I'm not breaking any news there. He's got a good enough arm, but let's not get it twisted here. I mean, he's got a starting quarterback arm in the NFL. He has not got a Josh Allen arm. He has not got a Patrick Mahomes arm. Hell, he's not even got a Cam Ward arm. And I mean, Cam Ward is unassailable at this point to me. He's like Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, not altogether dissimilar players. I mean, not even really just as players. Obviously, as players, they play dramatically differently, I would say. Cam Ward, much more prone to throwing the fucking balls, which I personally appreciate. That's why I'm comparing him to Brett Favre right now, and I love the kid. I really think he's got the stuff. But just as personality-wise, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, not altogether too dissimilar. The difference between the two is that Cam Ward knows when to comport himself like a leader. Shedeur Sanders does not seem to know when to turn the content brain off necessarily. I mean, Cam Ward has shown over and over again he can be that bold, brash player, that super, I mean, ultra ridiculously confident player that he is. And still, when it comes time to be the leader on the football team, he steps into that role and he just grabs it by the balls, basically, doesn't let go. That's part of what makes Cam Ward special. Let's not sit here and act like his arm isn't ridiculous. I mean, it's a fun arm to watch. I encourage you to go watch the highlights of Cam Ward and the lowlights too. They can be some fun lowlights, which it should scare you if you're our team. There's no question about it. I don't know if either of these top two quarterbacks this year would have gone before any of the quarterbacks that went before last year, or in the top 12 last year, we'll just say, between, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, all those other guys, of course, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, that vaunted QB class that went last year. I don't know if I would take either of these quarterbacks over any of those guys. That's a lie. I love Cam Ward. I'd probably put him at like maybe 3 in last year's draft. I actually really like Cam Ward. I can't even lie. But for like the consensus, I would say many of the draft nerds are not going to take Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders over any of these guys. So that's the caveat that comes in here. There's a supply shortage in the NFL draft for QBs this year. You really only got the two guys that you think have the potential to start from day one, that being Ward and Sanders. Then you're looking at a bit of a no man's land after that. A bunch of project QBs this year. I'm thinking specifically of like Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe. Those are the ones that pop into mind. Outside of that, I mean, you got Quinn Ewers there. I wouldn't feel great about him starting as my starting quarterback. And I love that me, as kind of a meathead on this sort of stuff, agrees with the nerds on this eval, by the way. I mean, I don't really... I mean, Quinn Ewers is good. Never should have been considered in Heisman hype. And it's... I want to say I feel bad for the kid. I don't. He was like the highest rated quarter, or really just highest rated recruit ever whenever he came out of high school. And it's kind of what comes with it. He didn't put that on himself, but at the same time, he's earned a whole lot of NIL money because he came in at the right time for a whole lot of NIL money, and he made a lot of that in Texas, too. Some of it was at Ohio State for sure, but the rest of it was in Texas. And Texas is paying a whole lot of money in a state that does not have state income tax. So Buddy was getting paid in college. He's going to get paid in the pros. It's just a matter of, I don't think he's ever going to be a starter. And that's like your fifth best quarterback in this draft. I mean, draft experts love Tyler Shuck. For the life of me, it happens every single year. And this is nothing against Tyler Shuck, too. It sounds like I'm really just banging on players today. The immunity, of course. I'm stealing a Josh Pate bit there. That's a deep cut unless you watch Josh Pate's college football show, which I recommend that you do. I really do. Pate State material is my type of material as well, so I very much encourage you to go watch that show. I mean, if you're watching this show and not that show, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Especially if you're into college football. That being said, outside of that, I mean, Quinn Ewers here, he's, like I said, fifth quarterback. Tyler Shuck, that's where I was. Sorry, really delineated on that one. But Tyler Shuck, this happens every year with the draft nerds who do not watch any college football outside of their little bubble. I know Mina Kimes. I love Mina Kimes. She is my favorite NFL person to listen to. For my money, I'll go to bat with anyone. The smartest football analyst on TV right now, I would say, is Mina Kimes. I really, really love her work, and I love her podcast mostly. That's kind of where I get my exposure to Mina Kimes. So, I mean, this is the thing, though. Draft people like Mina Kimes here. They swoop in here after the college football season. She's a UW graduate, so she's watching Washington all year. Watching the major games in the playoffs, so, get exposed to a few people. But they always find their little diamonds in the rough just based on watching the film. This year, all the draft people, including Mina Kimes, are going for Tyler Shough. Why? I mean, I guess he did okay in multiple systems. He was okay at Texas Tech. He was okay at Louisville. I don't know that he's ever been better than okay, though. And I've been over this with Tyler Shough before. It's not like he had slouches for offensive coordinators, man. I mean, I think there was a stop before Texas Tech. He was one of those guys that bounced around, and I'm like, who cares, man? Who cares the first place you were at? It didn't really matter to you that much in the grand scheme of things because you jumped ship as soon as you could. Maybe that's not fair for Tyler Shough. It is what it is. I'm just spitting facts right now, but we keep it moving from there. It's not like Tyler Shough's had slouches for offensive minds here. I mean, he had Joey McGuire, who was a really solid offensive coach down at Texas Tech, and then he went to Jeff Brom, who I like better than just about anyone in college football as far as an offensive head coach goes. I think he's destined for a big-time job here at some point. And Louisville is the stepping stone to get there. Unfortunately for Louisville, I don't make the rules. I just observe them as they come along. That's what Louisville is, unfortunately. Mississippi State is in no better situation. In fact, they may be in a worse situation. The only leg up we got on Louisville is that we're in the SEC. That is where the legs up stop. That's it. That's it right there. So this is not a judgment from a high tower like an Ohio State sort of situation here. This is a judgment from, hey, we're not even really on equal footing. I'm talking up to you a little bit here, Louisville. It's a stepping stone job. Let's call it like it is. It's a stepping stone job, man. Our last great head coach got hired by Florida. Our last good head coach died. These things happen. At least you're not Mississippi State. That's all I can say to you on that one. I really delineated there. That's good. That's good stuff. Why not stick with college football, though? I made brief allusion to this Deion Sanders extension. Why not expound on that a little bit here? Because I do remember that came down throughout the course of this past week. So it's a 5-year, $54 million contract extension. So quick math on that one, 10.8 guaranteed per year. There you go. Math. I'm great at it, obviously. So that is to be the head coach at Colorado. And obviously, if you're Colorado, you have to do this because that's how you protect your asset. And it's really just if you're confident in a head coach's quality and that you're not going to have to fire him, like he's going to get hired away, why wouldn't you just re-up him on a progressively larger contract every year? I mean, if you have the money, why not just do it? Because, I mean, best case scenario, obviously, he sticks around, listens to the money, and then builds your program into something amazing down the line if you believe in that guy that much. Obviously, worst case scenario is you pay him a whole lot of money and then you have to fire him one day, which is also a very big possibility. Shout out to Jimbo Fisher on that front with the enormous contract that he signed with Texas A&M and the enormous check that those oil barons cut to get him the fuck out of Texas A&M. I mean, if you're confident in your head coach, though, and that you're not going to have to fire him, it's either he sticks around forever or someone hires him away and they pay you a monster buyout. That's really the golden situation to be in if you're very confident in a head coach going forward. So why wouldn't you, if you're Colorado, with the anticipation of someone coming after him at some point here, especially now that his son Shedeur and, well, I guess Shiloh, Are any of the Sanders kids still there? I don't remember at all. I think they're probably all about to the point where they're graduating at this point, at least I would assume. Really, I only followed Shedeur because, well, frankly, he was the only one worth a damn at the NFL level as far as prospects are concerned. And, of course, his pseudo-son, Travis Hunter, is gone as well. Again, Deion Sanders, not Travis Hunter's dad. Not his dad. That's all I really have to say about that. He's gotten very comfortable, Deion Sanders has, and I'm sure this is a mutual situation where Travis Hunter is fully on board with Deion Sanders being in there, but at the same time, not Travis Hunter's dad. There was some negotiating stuff going on before that. It's just wild that he's lumping Shedeur Sanders in or Travis Hunter in with Shedeur Sanders rather, which wild. Off the beaten path, not really relevant to what I'm talking about here with Deion Sanders. What I want to get here, outside of this just being a smart move by Colorado making some big-time splash moves and then following that up with smart moves. Obviously, having Deion Sanders there gets you Juju Lewis. No way around that. I mean, that's a big-time 5-star quarterback that you would maybe expect to start in year one, though they did get Caden Salter from Liberty. That's a huge pickup as well. Deion Sanders cooked in the portal this past year. Trust in Deion. That's what I'm saying at this point. We'll see how it goes from here. But doing great at the quarterback position. What I want to relate this to, and what I briefly alluded to in the previous section, is what I'm going to talk to you about after I get this Gatorade. How about that for a tease? Sorry, I needed to wet the whistle before I continued because my voice is hoarse. My voice is hoarse, and I'm supposed to be a man, not a horse. So that's out of the question. We can't have that continuing to go on. But what I briefly made allusion to, and what we'll talk about now, is this is the reason why Deion Sanders did not go to Colorado. And let me explain by just saying, in no world, in no life, and in no universe of any variety of the infinite universes that you can see out there would Jerry Jones pay any coach. I don't care if it's Deion Sanders. I don't care if it's the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. Jerry Jones is not going to pay any coach $10.8 million a year. It's just not happening. Brian Schottenheimer, I believe, got less than half of that. I think maybe he got $5 million a year, which is good money, don't get me wrong, especially in a state like Texas. Like I said, no state income tax. You're bringing home a lot with that, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, Jerry Jones, it's all a part of the portfolio. He's not going to spend more than he has to on this football team. And he's gotten away with the marketing and all this sort of stuff. We've talked about this time and time again, but why not bringing it up one more time? Because I guess it's been a minute since we talked about Jerry Jones and just my feelings on Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a master marketer. No, I mean, no question about that. If there's one thing that Jerry does better than any owner in the league and better than most businessmen out there is he's a master marketer. He is a master at drumming up attention. He is a master at creating stories. And he's a master at making money. That is what Jerry Jones does. He makes money. He's a businessman. He didn't just buy the Cowboys with a pile of chump change, man. He made some money before he bought the Cowboys and, frankly, made them into the brand that they are today. They were not the brand that they were before Jerry Jones got there back when the 70s, 80s? I can't remember exactly when he bought the team, but all the credit in the world to Jerry Jones. He won 3 Super Bowls with the team, has really made the Dallas Cowboys into the most recognizable brand in football for sure. I mean, really, I don't care what level. Football for sure, I would say the Dallas Cowboys are the most recognizable brand. North American sports, I would say, as well, shoo-in. I mean, the Lakers are probably up there as well, but the Dallas Cowboys, they eclipse all in North American sports. I mean, they're in conversations with like football, like soccer, European soccer, as far as brand recognition goes. That's the stratosphere that they're occupying right now. And that's all due to Jerry Jones. That's all the credit in the world to him. That is his brainchild. That is his baby. That being said, here comes the criticism here. There's a reason they've not even sniffed a Super Bowl in the last 30 years. And that reason, unfortunately, is the very reason why they make so much money. It's Jerry Jones. this is the enigma with Jerry Jones in the modern era. I mean, especially after, free agency gets implemented, the draft and develop style does not quite hold through to the modern era like it once did. And as a result, I mean, Jerry Jones, this guy that's known for being flashy, big spender, all that sort of stuff, not exactly living up to that talk in free agency. He's not exactly going out there and spending money. He's not, I don't care what he says, he's not really serious about winning football games. Maybe he was at one point, but he's not right now. And he can say all that he wants to the contrary of that. Hell, he may even, absolutely hit on another first-round pick. Mozzie Smith not doing great, though, but that's neither here nor there. You'll miss on one every once in a while. Jerry Jones' track record of first-round picks, not bad. Also, owner GM. People forget. Owner GM. Don't really make a whole lot of those anymore. But here's the thing with Jerry Jones, man. I am convinced. I read one article one time, and I cannot remember the guy's name. I apologize to him. Or I heard him on a podcast one time. I believe it was Pablo Torre's podcast, talking about Jerry Jones, and it all just kind of made sense. So I've adopted this theory on Jerry Jones here. Obviously, all the spending is marketing. He doesn't spend a whole lot. He'll pay his own players. He will try to snake his way around agents, as he always does. He tried to do it with Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons stonewalled him. I would imagine Dak Prescott did the exact same thing, because he is an assassin at the negotiating table. With his representation in tow, he has got diamond hands when it comes to that, and I just hope he gives a lot of that to Mississippi State football program, but who's to say? Outside of that, he doesn't go out and spend big money in free agency. You're not seeing huge free agent signings for the Dallas Cowboys nowadays. It's, to their credit, all players that they've drafted, all very good players that they've drafted. CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, both of those guys, by the way, were first-round picks chosen by Jerry Jones. So again, not totally knocking him. He's got some upsides, obviously. But the downsides are the Dallas Cowboys, and we're getting to the point here that I've gotten to a couple times, but it's worth reiterating because I haven't done it in a while here. So the thing with Jerry Jones and the thing with the Cowboys is the Cowboys are just a piece of the portfolio for the Jones family. They're in real estate. They're in oil. Frankly, and we've been over this concept before, but again, worth reiterating, an NFL team is a cash cow. And a cash cow is, if you are unfamiliar, we're going to go over this one more time. Not everyone went to business school. Maybe some people think a cash cow just means, listen, man, this thing is just going to be printing money. We just put more money in and we just get more money out. Now that, what you're thinking of there, that is what we would call a star in the business world. It's going to get you a whole lot, well, in business school. I don't know if they actually use these in the business world because I never actually went into a business-related job. I bounced around for a while and went on this adventure. Different story for a different day. But in business school, we would call those stars. So you invest a whole lot of money into them, you get a whole lot of returns, but you have to invest a whole lot of money to get there. I would liken that to the chip industry right now, like the computer chip industry. You put in a whole lot of money for development, factories, all the specialized equipment you need, but on the other side, you make products with insanely high margins that you're going to make a whole lot of money off of because everyone needs chips. We're just gobbling up computer chips left and right, and we are just expanding the computer chips that we use in everything, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon, or really in my lifetime for that matter, unless we get a Dune-style Butlerian jihad. Don't expect that to happen, but who's to say? But I don't even really know how I got on that tangent, but let me just tell you, that's good stuff. That's good stuff right there. But as far as the Dallas Cowboys are concerned, don't know how I got off on that tangent. It's just a piece of the portfolio for Jerry Jones. And being that they're a cash cow, came back around to it, it means that you don't have to put in a whole lot of money and you can get a huge amount of returns. That's why you see guys like Brown, not Paul Brown, Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals. He doesn't spend a goddamn lick of money, and he makes a whole lot of money because all you need is a committed fan base. And even if you don't have that, the TV revenue and the socialistic, really oligarchic nature of the NFL kind of makes it so you can do jack shit and just rake in cash, essentially. Shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars, though. I'm no discredit to Shad Khan. I think he hires some terrible people, or has hired some terrible people to run his organization, especially Trent Baalke. That snake stuck around the building for entirely too long, but he's willing to spend money at the very least. We're talking about, I mean, struggling to think. I mean, the Chargers don't spend a whole lot of money. I don't think the Seahawks spend a whole lot of money. The Patriots, high key, don't spend a whole lot of money. Same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And these are story brands we're talking about here. So no huge surprise that the Dallas Cowboys are not spending money as well. They're also bringing in the most money too. So if you're making the most money of your business partners, and at the end of the day, they're all relying on you making that money. So you have a whole lot of power on that front. But if you're making all that money, you don't really feel very incentivized to spend more money. How much bigger is the Dallas Cowboys brand going to get? I don't know if it's going to get a whole lot bigger. I just know the fans could get a whole lot more annoying. But that's the mindset that I see here from Jerry Jones. So if you're making money off of it, why invest more money? I mean, especially if there's diminishing returns on that extra money that you're putting in there. I'd not say that there's not going to be returns on that money, but they're just diminishing. You're decreasing your profit margin after a certain point, which you don't get to be a billionaire by thinking in emotional terms where football is the biggest concern. You get to be that point by thinking in the most profitable options. That's kind of as evil as people make these billionaires out to be. They're fairly logical people, I would say, once you know what really motivates people. And you don't really get to the point of being a billionaire unless money and making the most profitable option for yourself is the number one priority. So that's kind of how I feel that Jerry Jones runs the organization. But that is all to say, you don't pay your coaches huge money with that strategy, hence why Deion Sanders, I don't know who needs to hear this, but to wrap this point up, Deion Sanders will never be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Outside of that, though, I mean, this has been going on for about 40 minutes, so at this point, I'm going to mercifully end this thing. If you stuck through this, man, good on you, good on you. We turned this around in the back half of it, but that first half, whew boy, that was not great. That was not great. We unraveled some webs as we got along here. I mean, you get me talking about college football and the strategy of building a program through essentially buyouts, I would say, which is something that's really... Okay, I'm going to get off on one more tangent here. That's really how I think that you can elevate a program over time. If you don't have a whole lot of natural resources, so to speak, as far as donors, I guess build it and they will come is kind of the way that I view it. What you really have to do in that situation is nail the hires, and at all levels too, because if the AD is hiring good coaches over and over again, one, those coaches are going to get buyouts, so that's going to make you a bunch of money as they get bought out. And you're going to be able to funnel that all back into the program. But eventually, if the AD keeps hiring big-time coaches, and they show a really good hit rate on those hires, they're going to get hired away by someone else too. So you got to nail the AD hire. And it's very hard to do, but I think that's kind of the way that you have to elevate a program, is just through successive, really, really good hires until ultimately you luck out and you get a Phil Knight, essentially. That's kind of how it goes. But I need to stop talking in circles here. Thank you so much for tuning into Unqualified Analysis. We do this thing once a week in the off-season. Next week, I'm going to get you something a little bit more structured. We've been playing loosey-goosey here over the last several weeks. Not coincidentally, because there's a lot going on work-wise and life-wise. But I'll tell you what, man. We're off to a torrid start to the off-season. It's going to get even more torrid next week. You just wait until I bring out what we got for you next week. But that's for next week, I suppose. I got to get off this mic, man. Anyways, I thank you all so much for tuning into this podcast here. Go ahead, hit a like, subscribe. Really, maybe don't share this one. I feel like the previous one wasn't too bad, so go ahead and share that one. I think that's probably the best course of action. We can feel free to just bury this one. I think this is not the worst episode I've ever done. There were some solo episodes whenever I first started doing this thing solo. They were frankly atrocious. Do people remember when I was reading off of a document? And maybe I was good enough at it that people didn't notice. I mean, that was, hey, maybe just some natural talent there. But we used to read off of a document to a certain extent. But those times are long gone, man. Long gone. I had way too much time on my hand to type up a whole, script, essentially. What are we doing? But anyways, we could probably just bury this one. Not the worst one. Far from the best that I've ever done, though. So, yeah, I'm gonna put in some time this week. We're going to come up with something fun next week, and that's my promise to you. Quick caveat, I am prone to breaking promises at times. So that is my promise. We'll see if I hold to it. Anyways, I need to stop talking. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. Follow me on the Twitters at CalebVUA, link down in the description. Shoot me a DM there, mainly if you want to get in contact with me or the show in any way, shape, or form. Outside of that, shoot me an email at unqualifiedanalysis@gmail.com. And yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. As always, I have got just about no clue what I am talking about. That being said, one thing I learned this week. So this one is kind of a throwback. I think you can probably tell when I got this stat from. The White Sox, coming fresh off of the worst season in MLB history. They lost about 1 million games, in the 100 teens in losses last year. They were awful, just god awful, I would say. They are so bad that Polymarket, probably one of those offshoot sketchy gambling sites. That being said, sometimes you need some offshore odds because they're fun to look at. Do not bet in offshore sports books. You will lose money. You're going to lose money betting anyways in all likelihood, so just don't do it. But you will lose money if you bet on offshore. If you bet on offshore sports books, I can guarantee you that. But Polymarket, a site that deals in various prediction markets, so largely offshore stuff, has better odds they had better odds coming into the season for the second coming of Jesus Christ than the White Sox to win the World Series. That is how bad the White Sox are. And Jerry Reinsdorf, you piece of shit, you should probably sell all your teams. Just sell them now. I don't hate that. Listen, man. It's going to be a cold day in hell when I have to, I guess, show love for the Bears fans. Really just the Chicago Bears and the Chicago fans in general. I have nothing against you necessarily. I think mainly good people. Some of you are overweight, but there's a reason for that, man. The brats, the beer. How can you say no to such a thing? How can you say no to such a thing? So I appreciate you as people. And in that spirit, I do hate your sports teams. Do not get it twisted. The Bears are my number one most hated sports team in the NFL. Now, I will say, being a Mississippi State graduate, the Ole Miss Rebels having racism as their mascot, and I know that is a trapdoor for State fans because Ole Miss did integrate first. That being said, Ole Miss is the more hated of my two rivals, I would say, but the Bears have been the most hated team all my life. That was a wild thing I just said there, but that is facts. I mean, you got to own the history, of course. So that's a little trapdoor that State fans should not fall in. Should not fall. It's just waiting there, looking at you. You can't take the bait. You can't take the bait because there are skeletons in our closet as well, unfortunately. But that being said, I just need to stop talking, man. I'm talking in circles at this point. I'm losing my mind, losing my sight, losing my mind, and I wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. But now I'm talking in circles. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Weird episode, but hope you enjoyed the whimsical nature of it. I'm going to get this thing edited, and we're going to get this thing up, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. See ya.